I'm Trevor Phipps from the band Unearth. We have a tour coming up next week in Australia. It's our first time back in 8 years. It is our 8th time in Australia, and we're going to be debuting a new song during this tour from our new record.
Beautiful, Trevor. Thanks for joining us today, mate.
Thanks for having me, man.
My pleasure, bro. So, as you mentioned, Unearth return to Australia later this month for a series of shows with the Ascended and Complexant, starting in Adelaide on January the 20th. So, you must be pretty excited to be coming back, mate. You sort of had it cancelled and postponed a few times.
Yeah. We were scheduled for May 2020, and it couldn't happen, of course, for the obvious reasons. And Matt stuck with us the whole time. Every 3-4 months during the pandemic, he would reach out to us saying that he wanted to keep the tour going. And sure enough, here we are about to come back. So he's a true legend for seeing this thing through, and we're very excited to come back. Like I said, it's our 8th time. We front loaded it with a bunch of tours early in our career, and then this, haven't been back since 2015. So the band is very excited to touch down next week.
Oh yeah, and like you say, mate, it is your first time out here in 8 years. So what's actually different with the band since last time you were out here?
We have a few different members, but we do, we are out there with our drummer from the Oncoming Storm in the Eyes of Fire, Mike Justin. It's great to have him back in the fold, and it's bringing a new kind of energy to the band live.
Now, what about the other new members, bro? Introduce us to them.
We got Peter Lehman on guitar. He was with us in Australia our first time in 2005 during our first tour with the Treyu and Norma Jean. He was filling in for Buzz at the time, so he has a long-standing connection with Unearth, and he was going to be Buzz's replacement back in 2005 when Buzz was about to step down for his home job, but then he decided to stay with the band. So we have a long history with Peter as well. So it's we're excited to come back, man. New record comes out in May, and so like I said, we're playing a song off that record, and yeah, should be a lot of fun.
Beautiful, man. So what can Australian fans expect from the shows, mate? Like, I know you've been out here a few times, but there's bound to be a couple of people who haven't seen you. So what can we expect?
We're doing songs from most records. We're bringing our energy to the stage as always, and we tour to have fun, and we enjoy our time on the road.
Yeah, cool. And you've also got a couple of festival appearances with the Ascended and Complexant, along with Aussie heavyweights King Parrot and local supports, mate. So tell us a bit about those shows.
That's what was Matt was really pushing for this time, was teaming up with King Parrot, and we've been friends with King Parrot for a long time. We've done a bunch of shows with them throughout the years, and teaming up with them is great. I think those shows will be massive and good fun.
So you got a bit of a blend of like your own headlining shows plus festival headlining shows, mate. So as a band, do you approach them differently? Like, is there something different that goes into just your own performance as opposed to a festival group thing, I guess?
I think the only thing that changes for us is how we work the stage. If you're on a small stage, you bring a different kind of performance, whereas a big stage, you have to spread out more.
Yeah.
And we learned that early in our career. There's a festival in Massachusetts called the New England Metal and Hardcore Festival. There's a pretty big stage, so even when we were young, underground band, we learned to play this stage on this festival stage, and so it's something that's kind of second nature for us. The bulk of our career has been in the small clubs, but play the big stages and you just get accustomed to it, and it's just you play it a bit differently.
Yeah. I suppose it's going to be a bit of a tricky question, bro, but like, is there any preference to you, like playing the smaller, sort of more intimate stage shows as opposed to the larger festival ones?
I used to say I prefer the small stage, which is still where I lean my energy towards, but the festival crowd sometimes there's something extra there when you capture the festival audience. There's so many people and they're all there and having a great time, and there's something extra cool about that aspect of it. And not every festival crowd reaches that, of course, because not everyone's going to connect with you. But if when you're at a festival and everyone connects with you, there's something really fucking cool.
Yeah, cool. And you mentioned the new album that's going to be coming out in May, brother. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, we did that record with Will Putney. That's the second record in a row with him. He did our last record, Extinctions. We went to New Jersey this time. We did the record completely at his base, his studio. It was a great experience. 4 of us were in there, had a great time. Very excited about the record, man. It's heavy, it's dynamic. We're pushing boundaries. We went out of our comfort zones on a few songs, mixing up the flavor of Unearth, but keeping it Unearth. And it's very aggressive, very heavy, and we're just excited for people to hear it.
Yeah, cool. Like when you mentioned that you've gone outside of your comfort zone, mate, like you hear a few bands talk about that, but what does that actually mean, man? Could you elaborate on that a little bit for us?
So for starters, Buzz, he generally writes the majority of material, and he put a limit on himself. He wouldn't go into certain comfort zones for him to write. So he forced himself to write in a kind of a different direction, not leaning on his normal tendencies on guitar. So what that did, it created a slightly different sounding Unearth, in which pushed me to be a different vocalist, and it just opened up new territories for us. And so it all started with Buzz, and it definitely trickled down to how the songs finished. So it was really cool to dip into this. There's a lot more melody on vocals, but there's a lot more range and heaviness on the vocals than I've ever added as well. It was a fun record to make.
Have you released the title of the album yet, or is that still to come out?
It's The Wretched, the Ruinous. We have not released it in media yet, but I'm saying it on stage. I'm saying it everywhere. So
the new song that you're going to be playing, has that actually been released yet, or is this the first time it's going to be heard when you play it here live for us?
It has not been released yet, and is going to release mid-tour. I believe on the 24th of January. It's going to be released, and it's the title track from the record. It's The Wretched, the Ruinous. It's the first song on the record, and it's a good summation of the record.
Very nice. So we go back in history a little bit here, mate. Like Unearth formed back in 1998. So what was the musical climate like back then that gave birth to the band, and where did you fit in initially?
I was in a band called Second Division, and the other starting members of the band were in a band called .04. We were local to the Northeast in Massachusetts, the North Shore, I should say. And we did a bunch of shows together. It was a more of a hardcore leaning scene with, metal influenced. Our local scene was dominant by bands like Overcast, Cave In, and Saint Black Church. These are important bands to us that we listen to locally. We all grown up listening to thrash metal and Black Sabbath. And then, Pantera came out and kind of changed the game. And that's weird things we're building at the time. And that kind of gave birth to our scene in New England with bands like Shadows Fall, and even further down, you have in Virginia, you get Darkest Hour, Lamb of God, all the remains back in Mass, Killswitch Engage. It gave birth to those bands, and we played together and grew together.
Very cool. And in those 25 years since you formed, mate, like the music world's changed that many times, bro. So are Unearth the type of band who sort of tried to change with the times, or have you sort of more stuck to your own path?
We've definitely stuck to our own path, and sometimes that's for better or for worse, for sure. But I think people pay attention to the band that stays true to themselves and their sound, which was always our mission, and always what we would tell people and just put out there, is that the band just wants to write music that we enjoy. That's how we got here. When the band first started out, we came from defunct bands. And so we made, our mission was to write music that we liked, we wanted to hear. And when we did that, it seemed to, it pushed us into, new territories. And so that's what we're always sticking to.
Yeah, cool. So this is your 25th year as a band, mate. So you've got anything planned for an anniversary?
Nothing for anniversary at all. There, because we're pushing this record, and we'll be pushing that, but I'm sure it'll come up that it's our 25th year.
Yeah, sweet, bro. Right, you got any messages for your fans before we leave you today?
Thanks for all the support over the years. Looking forward to coming back, and see y'all soon.
Sweet as, bro. Well, I shall catch up with you at the Brisbane show. It's my actual birthday that day, so I'll be there and tying a few on, mate. So we'll catch up and say good day then.
We will celebrate for sure.
Cheers. Sure. All right. Thanks for your time, bro. We'll see you in a week or so.
All right. Later.
Yeah, man.